You've obviously been on both sides, like a close win, close loss. Like what do you think a team like UNLV is coming in here like tomorrow after the way that game ended on Saturday?
Those are hard. I mean, I think maybe the comparable one would be our Colorado State one years ago, the timing one, and it's really hard. And because you try to do everything to control what you can control, and then it goes that way, and then you just feel so helpless. And, so yeah, there's empathy. I've been through those. That's it is a tough thing to go through, no doubt.
With that said, to know they were up double digits at one point, to see what they did to New Mexico the week before, I mean, it's pretty easy for your guys to see how good they are.
Yeah, our guys aren't dumb. They know, and these guys have players and they're well coached, and it's just been a little bit of bad luck here and there, especially with like injuries and getting guys eligible, all that stuff. There's been so many factors to it, but when the dust settles and you watch them play basketball, you're like, oh, those guys are good, really good.
What do they do best?
Well, they got shooting, they got athleticism, they got size, they got a point guard who's wise beyond his years. He's young, but he doesn't play young, and bigs that can score. Lots of shooters and lots of athleticism, and so put that all together, you're like, that's drives a hard bargain, no matter what, no matter who they're playing. I mean, I saw what they did to Creighton, and they take out the first few minutes of that San Diego State game. That was the Mexico game, and you take out the last 12 seconds of the last game. I mean, it could be a completely different record and vibe or whatever season, and so we know that they're really, really good, and they're going to be a big challenge, and we're going to play a great game, and we're going to have a great crowd. So, to have that home court.
Along those lines, just how deceiving is that record? Just especially coming off 2 wins against opponents who have been on hot streaks.
They're the record. They are not what their record says they are. That's the team they're bringing in Tuesday is not what their record says they are. And then, that's a for sure when you watch them on tape and when you watch the way they're playing and against who they have done it against too. This is a really, really good basketball team.
How nice are weeks like this where you don't have to worry about travel? You get 2 games at home. You can just kind of just focus on yourself, not worry about where you're when you're going to fly out, and just focus on the games.
Well, the travel in this league is a grind, no doubt about it. And this administration's helped us make that better. But it's we don't. The good thing that we do is we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. We don't try not to get too high, too low, and we're just grinding. Doing our routine and doing our how we prepare. It gives you a little advantage, and you don't have to spend all that time traveling, and you get sleep in your own bed. So those are nice to have, and extra hours to prepare, extra hours to watch film, extra hours to be in your own bed with better nutrition sometimes, and all that stuff matters, and that's one of the advantages to getting to play at home. But you throw it all out the window when the ball goes up. It's just 2 teams playing.
You guys are 3-0 in the conference with some nice wins against some nice teams. Why do you think you guys have been able to get to this stage 3-0? What have you guys done?
Well, I think it goes back to the valley of death we went through and the teams that we played. And then, you talk about, you forget that before we went to Clemson, we played San Francisco at home. That was a tough game. Then we go to Clemson, then we go to the tournament, then we come back. And it wasn't like, we had St. Mary's in North Texas waiting for us on, one on a neutral. And so that valley of death prepares you for good opponents and good teams and close games and tough, WSU game down the road, a few weeks after that. But there wasn't a lot of easy ones on our schedule, and our guys had a great mentality, a great approach, great toughness, and we got better because of that, and then you get those new guys accustomed to playing together, and that makes you a better team.
With the Boone brothers, their size, their scoring ability, the fact that they're both out there at the same time, what kind of challenge is that for your big men tomorrow night?
huge. I mean, you know, this is a guy, you always have to put it in Rock Chalk Jayhawk terms, but I believe he went into Kansas and had 27, correct?
Something like that.
Yeah, you know. Don't pretend like you don't know. I mean, this kid can play. Both of them, too, you know. And then his brother went to Pacific. Was great there. I remember when he was leaving Pacific, you know, Coach View and I talk all the time. I was like, how's he? He's like, oh, he's terrific. I'm like, oh, great. So they got two really, really good ball players there. I know that.
Who won that game
Which one?
when he had 27? What
I know you know that too. It was at Kansas, so don't
Oh, yeah.
even need to ask.
You're a basketball junkie, and you look at this league, and every night, or you know, and on Saturdays, there's multiple time slots where there's just a great game on. I mean, you see what you guys do tomorrow at the same time or the same night as New Mexico, Utah State. Then it's Nevada, San Diego State Wednesday. I mean, you guys Saturday. I mean, what's it like just every night flipping on this channel and knowing that there's going to be a Mountain West game that's of national relevance and that's an awesome game?
Yeah, you know, you think after you play on Friday and you're like, oh great, I'm going to enjoy watching those games and scouting them, and you don't enjoy it because you're like, God, look at how good these teams are. That's the crazy thing about it. All it does is just get you, you know, like holy cow. And but it is there've been awesome games to watch and great drama and great, you know, buzzer beaters. I mean, there was 2 of them on Saturday that win. You know, 2 teams win on a last second shot on Saturday, and yeah, it's what a league. What a league. We say that a lot, you know, in the Mountain West, and we've always said this is a basketball league. I mean, you got national champions from this league. You've got teams that played in the Final Four, teams that played in the championship game last year. I mean, we've been singing the praises from the mountaintops for a long time, but maybe the nation's paying more attention, getting more respect.
And you guys obviously have 2 road wins. Utah State has 2 road wins, but you know how hard it is to win on the road in this league, and you can't just assume that that's going to happen very often when you go on the road. I mean, kind of a dumb question, I guess, but when you do get a chance to play teams at home, I mean, how important is home court and taking advantage of that in this league?
Well, you just don't. I mean, you can't overdo any game, but our approach, but the most important thing is the consistency of the approach. So you can't like, okay, this game we have to be way up here because it's at home. No, you're trying to keep things even keel, and but you're not ever looking past somebody. You're not ever taking anything for granted, and that's the advantage of having veteran players that, you know, and keeping each other calibrated and centered, and in these moments of what we have to do and how we have to prepare. And you know, I'll tell you, when you look at those other teams, the veterans understand it, and it keeps them humble, if is the word, I guess, that no, the team we're playing tomorrow is as good as anybody, and you know, we don't approach it with any sort of, oh, look what, you know, no, we approach it with a humility that we're going to have our best preparation, our best, because of what we're looking at.
Ronnie arguably played 2 of his best games in the last 2, especially when you count what was at stake and, you know, who he was having to go against. So where have you seen him make his greatest strides in the last, say, couple of
Well,
games?
we're trying to get consistency. You know, a great player has to show up every night and be consistent, and it's not always about the points. It's, you know, it's about how you do all the other things. And 2 of the things that I'm really pleased at is he takes care of the ball really well and makes others better. He had 8 assists the one night. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And then he's really, really buying in defensively now. And, you know, he's such a good athlete that if he gets a consistency of that, which we've seen for the last few games, is, you know, that's really going to help this team. And that's one of the reasons you're getting better, is because those guys are becoming more consistent in our system.
With the way they were guarding Omar, obviously he had such a ton of success, and they were doing a little bit of doubling and things. I mean, how do you, obviously teams are going to see what other teams did and what works and doesn't work. I mean, it's part of coaching and scouting, whatever, but how do you, think that you guys can adjust to that, or how teams might continue to guard him?
Yeah, those guys are going to face lots of double teams, no doubt, and so we just have to keep getting better at it. But the thing I was most proud of Omar about is he made winning play after winning play after I think he was 1 for 8, and he didn't affect his mind. His mind was to help the team. He goes and gets that huge offensive rebound, gets fouled, and then makes 6 free throws in a row where there was no getting himself like, oh, I got feeling sorry for himself, or oh, I'm 1 for 8. I haven't got, many clean looks because of the double team, couple turnovers, all that. No, he was on to his response was near perfect, and that is such a good sign. I mean, because we've had great players in this program that it took them a long time to be able to do that, and he's making great progress because that's a hard thing to do. You want to play great, and he had played so great, so you just don't get too caught up in. Sometimes the ball doesn't go in, and you still are playing great, and the ball didn't go in for him that night, but everything he did helped us win that game.
How impressive after you watched the film was Max's shot there that kind of sealed the.
Yeah, that was huge. I mean, that the way he attacked, the possession before and got fouled, 2 possessions before and got fouled, and then on that one to finish through contact, because there was definitely contact, and that's the time of the game where you got to be able to be strong enough to make a play and not just settle for the path of least resistance. And I think he showed that on that play, and that was huge, really big.
As a team, how does that game just, you guys, up by 10 late, then just all of a sudden it's a 1 possession game. You guys are able to withstand that. How does that help your mentality?
Well, we've been through those before. We've been through that adversity and that, and you know that good teams are going to make runs at you over and over again, and that's, with Nevada, that's always the case. And Coach Alford's a terrific coach. The things that he's just going to keep doing different things, and something's going to work. And they got great players, and they were going to make a run, and they hit a shot, and it feels like you're down 20 and you're still up 7. So we work on that stuff, but that's where experience helps you.
You guys have a tremendous record in the month of January over the last 2.5 seasons, and that's especially impressive because it's league play on the road. What can you attribute that to? Why has that been a trend for this team?
I think it takes time to get guys good at our system, but we do play an aggressive schedule every year, and I think that helps you, like I said. And I got guys that are trying to get better all the time, and coaches that are committed to making them better. A ton of credit goes to my staff and what they do and how they get. Dust has settled a little bit, and we're 17th in the country defensively. That Coach Burns and Coach Jury and Alexis and Red and Berto and these guys they're doing an amazing job with these guys, and with long-term growth in mind. We don't just short-term to win one game. We've always got the long-term growth, and so sometimes it's maybe you don't come out perfect, but you get better as the season goes on, and that's credit to that staff, credit to our guys too.
Is rebounding a part of that too? I mean, there's
Yes.
Clemson game, North Texas, you're giving up 14, 15 offensive rebounds, and then you go on the road and give up 2 against Nevada.
Right, it's a really, really good team. And, that takes time to teach these guys and make them understand it and the importance of it, and and how we measure it, how we teach it, how we coach it. All those things take time, but when you have great guys, they'll do it.
What do you think of the scoring depth on this roster? You look at a night like last Tuesday, Omar got 17, only gets 8 in Nevada, but obviously still has all the hustle, the defense, the rebounding. But you got guys like Tyson to pick him up.
Yeah, the versatility and the balance. When that's what, that's one of the most important things to have a good team. And we got other guys that can score too. That Roddy can score, but he's sacrificing becoming a great point guard. His scoring's going to come, and you saw some of it in the Nevada game. But these guys, they care about one thing, and that's getting the job done. And that's when it's powerful, because we have a lot of different weapons that can hurt you.
We've seen Andrew's minutes actually, obviously go up, but we're seeing RJ's kind of go down a little bit. We just haven't seen as much of Jay's in the last couple of games. Mary, I guess where are you with the bench right now? How you're feeling confidence-wise with some of those guys?
Yeah, really good. But you got to. There's opportunity cost when you put in someone. You have to take someone out, and the someone you're taking out has been playing great. So it raises those guys' levels. Doesn't mean that they're done. It doesn't. That's going to be an important part of this season, what those guys can do. It was great to have Cam back the other day. We need that depth. It's a long grind. I mean, we played 3 of of 18 games. It's a long, long grind, and those guys are going to be huge. You know, you just don't know when, but we're trying to make them better every day. And, you know, those guys, you know, like Max and Tyson had their time sitting, and it's just the way it is when you're behind great players. Sometimes it's not that you're playing bad, it's the guys are playing really good in front of you, and it makes you elevate your game to that level.